The word is never the thing it represents. The word is not action. But most of us live in words, in images, in symbols, and therefore action doesn't bring about energy. We dissipate whatever energy we have through contradiction within ourselves. We seldom realize that energy, or the passion of energy, comes through action. That action is energy. We cannot have the action which brings about energy as long as there is contradiction within ourselves. Most of us, consciously or unconsciously, do have many forms of self-contradiction, some of which we are aware of and others of which we are unaware. Our whole life is trapped in this state of contradiction, and therefore there is no clear, direct action, which alone can bring about energy. And energy is necessary, not only physical energy, but also a sustained, passionate energy, which enables the mind to go right through any one action completely. So it seems to me very important to understand the nature of this contradiction, the contradiction between the word and the act, the contradiction between the conscious intentions and pursuits on the one hand, and the unconscious urges, the hidden demands, the secret desires on the other. This contradiction in various forms exists in all our activities, in all the desires and pursuits of human existence. I think most of us are aware of this contradiction within ourselves, if we are at all conscious of our activities, thoughts, and state of being.
ولقد علمنا المستقدمين منكم ولقد علمنا المستأخرين.
Indeed, we know the first generations of you will pass away, and indeed we know the present generations of mankind, and also those who will come after.
وإن ربك هو يحشرهم إنه حكيم عليم.
Indeed, your Lord will gather them together. Truly, He is all-wise.
ولقد خلقنا الإنسان من صلصال من حمإ
The attempt to bring about integration within oneself has no meaning at all. You cannot integrate the opposites. You cannot possibly integrate love and hate. Either you hate or you love. There can be no combination of both, no integration of the opposites. What has meaning is the understanding of contradiction, and therefore being free of it. To be free of contradiction, one has first to be aware of it. And perhaps some of us are not aware. We just carry on. And when we are aware of this immense contradiction, which exists not only in our outward life, but also very deeply within us, what happens? We find no solution for it, no freedom from it. So either we turn to what we call God, to the whole structure of belief, dogma, ritual, and authority, which generally goes by the name of religion, or we take life as it comes and give it no significance at all. So there are these two extremes which are in contradiction with each other. I feel it is possible totally to eradicate all contradiction, but not by an act of will. Because will again breeds contradiction in itself. Will is in essence contradiction. We are brought up to exercise every form of will. We are taught to overcome, to deny, to assert, to determine. And if one observes the nature of will, one sees that will is in itself a form of resistance, and therefore it is inherently a state of contradiction. Living in this world, carrying on with one's job, one's family, going through the whole business of modern life, is it at all possible to live without any contradiction at any level of one's being, outwardly and within the skin? Is it possible to have no contradiction at all, and therefore to act in such a way that action in itself is energy? If one observes oneself, one sees that the more physically active one is, the more energy one has. The more you act, the more energy there is, biologically as well as psychologically. Action itself is energy. It is not idea first and then action. Idea never gives this sustained energy. It may only give a stimulation, a momentary enthusiasm. It is action which brings about the energy from which further action derives. To understand the contradiction in our life, one has to go into it very deeply, and that is our difficulty. We want to be told what to do. We want to conform to a pattern or follow somebody, hoping to deny or suppress every form of contradiction, all of which is very superficial. Most of us live on the surface. When I use the words to go deeply, I do not mean going from the outside to the inside. If you do that, then there is immediately a contradiction between the outer and the inner. To go deeply is to understand contradiction, and it is necessary to understand contradiction if we are to bring about peace, not only within ourselves, but in the society of which we are a part. We must have peace, not war and peace. Peace now is only an interval between two wars. The root of contradiction is the division between the thinker and the thought. For most of us, there is a wide gap between the observer and the observed, between the thinker and the thought, between the center which experiences and the thing which is experienced. And it is this gap which is the real source of contradiction. When there is a great contradiction in the mind, it brings about a certain tension. The greater the tension and the greater your capacity to express yourself, as a writer, as an artist, as a politician, and the more misery you create, not only for yourself, but for the public also. When an ambitious man, a man who is competitive, talks about peace, it has no meaning. There is peace only when your mind is not competitive, not comparing, and therefore there is no contradiction within oneself. To bring about a different structure of society, a different social existence, one must inevitably understand the nature and the significance of this contradiction within oneself. Most of us are trying to fulfill ourselves, whether through painting, writing, through doing this or that, or through the family, which is again an indication of contradiction. You could say, should not man express himself? Why this extraordinary insistence on expression? You may or may not express yourself, but if you insist on expressing yourself objectively, in painting, in writing a poem, a book, in a gesture, or what you will, then that very insistence is an indication of contradiction. The root of contradiction is the division between the thinker and the thought, and the two cannot be integrated. But if you observe the structure of the thinker, you will see that the thinker is not when thought is not. It is thought that breeds the thinker, the experiencer, the entity who creates time, and it is the source of fear. When you have understood all this, it is only then that the mind is still, quiet. In that silence there is no experiencing at all, because such a mind is alive, clear. Being totally awake, it is beyond all experience, and all of this is meditation.
What? No.